Welcome to the special NFL draft edition of the Double J podcast. It's going to be the Triple J podcast today. Jack Theil and Josh Brunette join me here live on the podcast. It's an exciting time of year, as always, even with everything going on in the world with COVID-19. The NFL draft is still a very, very exciting time of year, and we're excited to get to it. We're going to be doing an entire first round mock draft. But first, before we get to that, are you guys looking forward to the draft Thursday nights? Should be a good one. Jack, start
Yeah,
off.
we're all, me and Jack, we're Bears fans. You're a Colts fan. We don't have picks in the first round, none of us, but, still looking forward to it as always. The draft's always a fun time. Always some head scratching picks, some obvious picks, and we'll do our best to show what we think will happen and what we would do.
Yes, we
Yeah,
will.
this is probably like maybe one of the best draft classes we've seen in a long time, and especially with the right wide receiver. This is going to be a wide receiver group talk about for a long time. Henry Ruggs, Jerry Jeudy, C.D. Lamb, T. Higgins. I can go on more, but this is a great draft class. I feel like there's going to be a lot of movement in that first round, especially with draft picks. We've seen it in the offseason so far. A lot of teams using their draft picks for veteran. I feel like we can see more of that coming in. I feel like a couple of teams could sneak into that first round, especially if they might have multiple second picks and they might want to trade one of those, like try to get a first rounder.
Yeah, we won't be having any trades here because, it's always hard to predict trades. We don't know what's going to happen with the virtual draft.
You never know. We never know if someone's going to pull a Bill O'Brien in this draft, so we don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Oh no, I love Bill O'Brien. I think we should protect him at all costs. He's so great. He never fails to disappoint.
I don't know if I hated him or Jerry Krause now.
We'll see after that documentary is finished. I think it's also a very underrated tackle draft. I think you got a lot of great tackles. I think you have at least two that could go in the top 10 and be really influential players. But we're gonna start at number one, and I don't know who else you can have going at number one, unless there's some kind of crazy trade. I think if it was gonna happen, it would have happened by now. But I'm gonna go with Joe Burrow, the LSU star. Not much more you can say. This guy is, I think no matter what you think about him, I don't think you can deny how great of a prospect he is. I know the one knock about him is that he didn't really pop until his senior year. I think it's a fair assessment, but I think this guy has the ability to turn around everything with the Cincinnati Bengals, and I'm excited to see what he does. He's going into a tough division with the Steelers, Ravens, and even the Browns now, I think, have a great roster. I'm not sure if he'll get the Bengals to the playoffs or even in playoff contention his first year. And that's not a knock on him. I think it's just a knock on the organization he'll be joining. But I think overall, this is a home run pick for the Bengals, getting who most people consider to be the best quarterback in this draft class.
Yeah, and I'm up next, and, it's not really too often that you could say the first two picks of a draft are certified locks. I say this draft really starts at pick 3 because Joe Burrow's the obvious number 1 pick. He's actually my number 2 player on the board. And then, that causes the number 1 player to fall, Chase Young. He's going to go to the Redskins. And that could be an impact similar to what Nick Bosa had with the 49ers. They've got a bunch of guys who could all take that next step. The Redskins, they've got Ryan Kerrigan, Jonathan Allen, Montez Sweat, their first-round pick last year. I think Chase Young's really going to elevate those guys, make that whole front seven better as a unit. And that Redskins defense is going to be something scary next year. It's all really on the quarterback now to see if he could get things moving on offense there.
So the draft starts. Jeffrey Okudah, the secondary from Ohio State. I think with Darius possibly on the move, he's actually displayed displeasure with the team, kind of trying to scout himself to go to other teams. And if you have Jeffrey Okudah, he is a problem, especially in the secondary area. One of the best I've seen, especially on the defense. He probably is, other than Chase Young, he's the second best defensive player in this draft. I'm a big fan of Okudah. And a Lions team that have one piece to fill, obviously. like Jeff could be a nice start to try and build a good defense in Detroit.
Yeah, they did trade away Darius Slay to the Eagles this year.
Yeah, and I mean he
way
won't
out there.
leave, and I think it's time to start with Jeffrey Okuda, someone new.
Alrighty, number 4. Yeah, I went back and forth on this, but I think the Giants are going to go offensive line here. The Giants have been in their offensive line has been not the best for a couple years. I thought about them taking Isaiah Simmons to shore up their defense. I think I say Isaiah Simmons is definitely still in the top 10, but I think they're going to take offensive lineman Tristan Wirfs from Iowa coming in as a junior. I think this guy is going to create those running holes for Saquon Barkley, and he's going to provide that protection for Daniel Jones that they need. But to be honest, it wouldn't really shock me if they went with Isaiah Simmons here to shore up that defense, but I think they'll go offensive line here.
Yeah, you can never have too many good offensive linemen. Not sure if I would have picked Tristan Wirfs or not. I think he's maybe the third best offensive tackle in this year's draft class, but still, this is a loaded offensive tackle draft class. Can't go wrong there. Now, I'm on the clock with Miami, and something Jovanni knows very well is I am not a Tua fan. I think he's a first-round player. I don't think he's worthy of the number 5 pick. And with Miami, they have the worst offensive line in the league. So I'm going to take my number 1 offensive tackle in this draft class, and that is Andrew Thomas out of Georgia. You could shore up that offensive line, get that left side, set, and who knows, maybe Tua will fall to you because of the injury concerns, maybe not. But I mean, if you can build that team up and then draft a rookie quarterback next year, or someone falls to you this year, you're in a lot better position than if you were to take Tua here with this 5th pick.
Well, you guys kind of screwed up my last 2 picks. I actually had Tua going to Miami. I had Tristan Wirfs going to Chargers, but since then, best available on the board, I think the Chargers got to go with Isaiah Simmons. The Chargers are sold on Tyrod Taylor. They are sold on him being a starting quarterback. Austin Eckler is now the number 1. You got Hunter Henry back and healthy. You've got Keenan Allen. Why not build that defense more with Isaiah Simmons, a great young piece to a good defense already with Derwin James, Bosa, and more. And I feel like when you add Isaiah Simmons to that defense, this can be a legitimate playoff team, especially with the offense they're running with right now.
Yeah, and the Chargers, they seem to be, you can never predict what they're going to do there with their GM. They took Bosa, Mike Williams. Both weren't huge needs. They just go with best player available, and it always seems to work out for them. I like that pick.
All righty. Carolina Panthers, I think they're going to take the defensive end, the big guy from Auburn, Derek Brown. I think this is a great piece to add to their defense. It's going to be interesting, this Panthers team this year, but I don't think you can go wrong with this pick right here.
Yeah, I think you have to, especially with the departure of Luke Kuechly. You got to build this defense up. Luke Kuechly was the captain, the general, whatever you want to call him, and his defense is kind of lost right now. So I think Derek Brown had a huge impact, especially in that Auburn and Alabama game this past year. So Derek Brown's going to have a good presence wherever he goes. But Carolina, I feel like, is the best fit.
Agree. And now the Cardinals are on the clock here, and I'm going to take Jedrick Wills out of Alabama. He's a sure tackle. You can never have too many tackles in the league, and we've seen a run on tackles, and now 3 of the top 4 guys are off the board here. So, and there's a lot of tackle-needy teams that are down there. We aren't doing trades, but, obviously there's going to be some trades, and I wouldn't be surprised to see teams, rushing up to get these guys.
The Cardinals don't take an offensive tackle. I don't know what they're thinking. That is their worst thing. Now they have no one to block Kyler, and not the addition of DeAndre. I mean, you got to block for Kyler. He's got to be able to throw the ball.
Yeah, I think before the Hopkins trade, you would have thought that the Cardinals might go with a wide receiver here, but now really they got arguably the best one in the game in Hopkins. So I agree. I think no matter what, the Cardinals will go with the offensive line here. Number 9, the Jags will have this pick. I'm gonna go with someone who I think is gonna get drafted a little bit too high. I'm not really huge on him, but I think the Jags will pick him here. C.J. Henderson, the cornerback. Um, a lot of people have him highly ranked. Again, I'm not huge on him. He's second in his position, or he's widely considered the second best in this position. And by this point in the draft, Okura will be off the board, so I can see him going for some help in the secondary. And at one point, not too long ago, the Jags, or Saxonville as they used to be known as, had a great defense. Now it's a little bit in shambles. They're going to definitely look to rebuild here on the defensive end.
Yeah, they need a secondary. I mean,
I
without
do believe
Jalen.
that was Theil's pick, so we'll
Oh, was it? My bad. My bad.
All right. So with the 10th pick, I'm going with Mekhi Becton from Louisville, the offensive tackle. The Browns are pretty loaded in every spot besides offensive tackle. Baker Mayfield had no help at all. Actually hurt himself with this terrible offensive line. I really think you just got to build an offensive line for him. And Mekhi Becton is a big dude. If you have not seen Louisville play, I advise you to go look at some of his highlights before. He is a big guy, very versatile. And don't forget, he played a year with Lamar Jackson. So he kind of knows you got to keep blocking for your quarterback, to make some plays happen. So I think Browns need to go O-line here, build it for Baker, Chubb, and hopefully this offense, this team, can get back on the right track.
Yeah, 6'7", 360 pounds, absolute mammoth. He could use some more work on his techniques there, but who knows, maybe the Browns coaching staff can get that out of him. Now we'll go back to Jovanni for the Jets pick.
Oh, well, thank you. The actual pick I was supposed to make.
Mm-hmm.
I could see the Jets going for a receiver here, and I think they're going to take Jerry Jeudy. I think he's the best receiver in the draft. A lot of people might think that's CeeDee Lamb, but from what I saw, Jerry Jeudy at Alabama, I don't think you can say enough about him. The tape says it all. This kid is an absolute monster. I think wherever he goes, he's going to be an instant impact player. And I don't think you could go wrong with the receiver in the first round. This is a great receiver class, as we said. It'll probably go down as one of the best ever, and I really don't think you can go wrong with picking a receiver in the first round here. But in my opinion, Jerry Jeudy's going to be taken off the board here.
And so now here's where it gets tough for me. The Las Vegas Raiders are up on the clock. Do they want to go with a quarterback and, take someone to fill in Derek Carr's shoes? John Gruden, he always wants the quarterback he can't have. And I look at the Raiders and I see Jordan Love as a great fit there. But teams are really wary on him, so I don't know if I would take him yet. I did like C.J. Henderson going there a lot, but, Jovanni took him off the board.
Sorry about that.
Let me think here. Because CeeDee Lamb could be a good fit there. Yeah, I'll take CeeDee Lamb.
Yeah, I don't think you can go wrong with that one. CeeDee Lamb, I think, is another guy who's going to be an instant playmaker wherever he goes, and the Raiders could need something like that.
All right, so I had feeling Jets, Raiders actually. I think they're done with Carr. Well, on 13, I think the 49ers are going to go with Henry Ruggs III out of Alabama. I think the Raiders are pretty set everywhere. I mean, they made the Super Bowl last year. I think the one thing they do need to improve on is their passing game. I really think you can't rely on George Kittle, to be your number one receiver. Yes, he's probably the best tight end in the league, but you also need another receiver. And you look at the receivers for the 49ers, Emmanuel Sanders, Bo Samuel. I mean, there's room for improvement, and I think Henry Ruggs can make a great impact. He's a very electric receiver alongside Jerry Jeudy as well. Both had a great career at Alabama, and I just think you got to build the offense for the 49ers. Defense is great. They don't need running backs. They have 3 great running backs. George Kittle is one of the best tight ends. I think just got to build the receivers for Jimmy Garoppolo.
And not a bad fit there. My dream fit in the draft is actually Henry Ruggs going to the Broncos. That's who I would have picked if he was still on the board.
That's where I have Jerry Jeudy going, actually, the Broncos.
But, I mean, here's what you got to realize. That 4-2 7 speed in Denver is going to wear cornerbacks out. Guys are going to get gassed trying to chase him down, and that would have just been a remarkable fit. Not going to happen here, but, still a great pick for the 49ers.
Alrighty. Just to be clear, neither of you guys have taken Josh Jones yet. I'm having trouble keeping track with all the offensive linemen getting off the board.
We have not.
We have not.
All right. I think the Buccaneers are going to go with Josh Jones here. You need a guy who's going to protect Tom Brady, their new signing, and 43 years old. You got to get some protection for him. I think they have the weapons on offense already at wide receiver, at running back. Now you got to shore up that offensive line a little bit, and you made a big investment in Tom Brady. It's time to give him some protection. And with the offseason, I'm not sure if he'll play at left tackle right away. I think whatever happens this offseason, I think he's going to start at right tackle. But this is a guy that's very athletic, and he can play either tackle position.
Yeah, that was a very early pick there for Josh Jones, in my opinion. But we'll see how it works out for them. Not sure if I would have picked him that early. But now we got the Broncos on the clock here. And, we've seen runs on tackles and wide receivers, which we all kind of predicted with how good these classes are at those two positions. So I'm going to take Justin Jefferson here, wide receiver out of LSU. He's that sure-handed slot guy, quick routes, good hands. I think that's a good, reliable target for Drew Lock. Maybe, give him that safety blanket moving forwards.
All right, with number 16 for the Falcons, I feel like we all know Falcons need its defense. So I'm going with Kenneth Murray, outside linebacker out of Oklahoma. First time I saw him was against the Texas game, and I thought he was a really good player. And the Falcons, they just need defense. I think that's plain and simple. Their offense is fine. The defense is where it needs help. And I feel like Kenneth Murray is not going to be a huge, huge impact, but he's definitely someone that could definitely, help them 1 or 2 games maybe.
All right, he picked 17, the Dallas Cowboys. Everyone loves to talk about the Cowboys. I think they have a real need in the back end of their defense, especially since they did not re-sign their star cornerback. I think they're going to go with A.J. Terrell from Clemson. I think that this is a good pick. I think he's someone who can shut down guys, and I think he patches up a real hole for the Cowboys defense. I could also see them going with an edge rusher here. I know their defensive line is pretty good, but it never hurts to have edge rushers. And if you have a guy, I think Clavon Chasen is still on the board for us. If he's there, I could see them picking him too. But for my mock draft, I will go with A.J. Terrell from Clemson.
Yeah, Cowboys, they got to go with someone in the secondary. They've got Chidobe Awuzie, Clinton Dix, Jordan Lucas, all free agents next year. They're not going to be able to keep all those guys. And now the Dolphins are back on the clock here with their second pick. And one of the most popular picks there's been is, everyone's kind of, looking towards Tua at pick 5. Tua has fallen down to pick 18 here. And this is where I like Tua. You got him an offensive tackle. Now you take your quarterback.
I don't think he's going to fall to 8. If he does, then that's a dream come true for the Dolphins.
The injury concerns, I don't know. Teams are seeing Herbert better, which
reports have said that he looks healthier than he did before the injury. So,
I just don't think
you can get him at 19. Consider yourself very, very lucky.
You guys let him fall there.
This is true, but I don't know. I just don't see it happening for the Dolphins. If they want to take him, it's going to be at 5. Even if he falls to 18, which I think is just so unrealistic. I don't think it happens. But
I'm gonna be honest, I didn't have my pick to where I actually had him going. So I think think about that. I had him going 5 with or whatever to the Dolphins. So I never had that pick yet, so I didn't get to say it.
Okay, now the Raiders are up on the clock with Jack Theil with the Bears pick.
Well, I was going to go with Justin Jefferson just because I really do think they need help with the receiver. And it's kind of tough with the
You
Raiders
did take
because
CD Lamb earlier in this mock.
and we're doing best available, and I believe no one has taken in our mock Justin Herbert yet.
They have not.
So I'm going to go with Justin Herbert because he's originally going to the Raiders with the 13th pick in my mind. But we're at the 20th pick. I'm going to go with Justin Herbert. I think the Carr era is done. I think new start. We're in Vegas. Let's start and let's have a good time. So I think we go with Herbert. You know, he had a great career at Oregon. Kid can move, run, pass, played a nice game in the Rose Bowl. I think Herbert's type of quarterback in this type of situation.
Oh, Josh,
Yeah,
do you want to give your thoughts on that pick?
Jovanni knows I am as low as I am on Tua. I'm even lower on Justin Herbert. I like Jordan Love more than Justin Herbert. I think I even like Jacob Eason more than Justin Herbert.
Oh,
See, the
come
problem
on.
with Jordan Love is he had a really bad senior year.
He did. And I'm not, too high on Jordan Love either.
So right now, I think all the hype, or you want to go all the who's hotter, I think Herbert is way hotter than Jordan Love. Jordan Love's a great quarterback around talent, but I feel like Herbert is better than Love.
Herbert really gives me some Mitchell Trubisky vibes, and I don't like that.
Honestly, if I had to give Mitchell Trubisky lives, I'd give it to Jordan Love, if anything. He was shaky his senior year.
Okay.
Yeah.
No rushing touchdowns. Yeah, that's not good. I mean, you need some rushing touchdowns, especially in college football.
Yeah,
All right, now we've got the Jags on the clock. Jovanni Alcantar did fall, so take that how you will with Jovanni as you're on the clock here.
I missed what you just said. Who fell?
Jovanni Kinlaw, Caleb Von Chason still on the clock too.
I think I will.
Grant Delpit.
Wait, who'd you say, Jack?
Grant Delpit, LSU.
I'm looking at it right now. I think I was actually going to take, you know what, for the Jaguars, I think they're going to go defensive heavy. I think Jovanni Kinlaw is going to be their guy here. I was looking at Herbert until Theil took that away from me, but yeah, I think the Jags are going to go defensive heavy in this draft. Again, they had that mighty defense a few years ago that seemed unstoppable. Now they're really trying to rebuild it, so I think that's where they go with their second first-round pick.
Yeah, I don't think he would fall too far, maybe not even past the 49ers. Because, I mean, it's just a business thing. Trade DeForest Buckner, get a guy who could turn into a similar player for cheaper. But great pick there for the Jags. And now the Eagles are on the clock here. And wide receiver is definitely their biggest in need. I think we're all in agreement with that, right?
Yeah.
You can say that.
Yeah, and a lot of the top-tier wide receivers are off the board now. Henry Ruggs, Justin Jefferson. But there's one guy who is sticking out to me, and that's Jalen Reagor. He's a fast guy out of where's he from? TCU. So I think that would be a good pick there. They've got Alshon Jeffrey, the separator there, or the jump ball guy. Now they need that quick separator. I mean, worst case, he becomes another Nelson Aguilar. Not sure you would, but you won a Super Bowl with him. So
the worst case scenario.
All right, so with the 23rd pick for the Vikings, I actually, or the 22nd, I should say,
yeah.
or 23rd, whatever it is. I actually, in my real mock draft, I have a trade. I do have a trade. I actually have the Bears trading for this pick, but obviously we're not doing trades, so I'm gonna go past that.
From the
Yes,
Vikings?
I have the Bears trading. If we're doing trades, I had the Bears trading their 50th pick, their second rounder. Pretty sure it was the 150th pick, if I'm wrong. And I had them going for a secondary just because they need secondaries. But so do the Vikings. And so Giovanni already took A.J. Terrell, which I'm a big fan of. So I'm going to go with Kristen Fulton out of LSU for the Vikings. The Vikings really need help in the secondary. Xavier Rhodes closed. I think he's done. I mean, I'm pretty sure he's actually not even on the team, if I'm being honest.
The Colts signed him.
He signed with the Colts.
Yeah. Oh, whoops. Sorry, Jovanni. But I just think they need help there. Yes, they might need another receiver because Stephon Diggs is not on the team anymore. Obviously, got traded. But I mean, I feel like with Dalvin Cook, they can run a good play action. I feel like their defense and secondaries need some help. So I think Christian Fulton out of LSU is a great fit for them.
Yep, and now we've got the Patriots on the clock here, the Colts arch rival, and we've got Colts fan Jovanni Alcantar making the pick.
I'll be
Draft pick
honest.
for the Patriots
I'll
in
be
the
honest.
non-Tom Brady era in like 20 years.
It's crazy how times have changed. I'll be honest. I don't see the Patriots staying in this spot. I don't think they'll trade up. I think they'll trade back. They have a lot of holes to fill on this team other than the quarterback position. I think the past few years it's been evident that defensively, yes, even the past year when they had that defense, you got to look at who they were doing that against. I know Josh likes to pull up that stat a lot, but if they do stay in the spot, since we're not doing trades, I think they go with the linebacker here. Like I don't see them really taking a quarterback like Jordan Love, but
Tank for Trevor.
remember we were saying tank for Tua, and he fell to like the mid rounds of our mock draft now.
We had Mr. Josh take care of that one for us.
Yes, but I have them going with
Good pick, then.
I have the Patriots going with Wisconsin linebacker Zach Bond. They obviously with Jamie Collins leaving, Kyle Van Noy leaving, that's a massive hole that they have to fill now. And I think he's going to end up going to New England if they stay in the spot. Again, I don't really foresee them doing that.
Yeah, Zach Bond, he kind of just screams Bill Belichickian player.
Exactly. I think he's the perfect fit in New England if they decide to stay in that spot. So next up, we got the Saints.
And with the Saints, I would have taken Jordan Love if I was the Patriots. If anyone can, take care of the turnovers, it's going to be Bill Belichick. But they still got an unproven quarterback with what's his name, Jarrett Stidham. And now the Saints get Drew Brees' heir to the throne, Jordan Love, out of Utah State. He's incredibly talented. He's my number 3 quarterback on the board. I will say there's a big drop-off from quarterback number 1 to the rest of the class for me. But Jordan Love to the Saints, he gets to sit behind Drew Brees, learn from one of the best ever. And I think that's a great pick there for the Saints.
All right, so we're back with the Vikings, and kind of surprised he's not even picked yet. I'm going with Clevion Chasen from LSU. I mean, this guy is one of the best linebackers in the draft, and I'm surprised he fell this far in our mock draft. I think he is one of the best players, like I said, linebackers, and he is a problem. And I think the Vikings, like I said, they just got to build the defense. Do I want them to build a defense? No, I'm a Bears fan, but for what their best interest is, yes, they do need to build this defense. They've got some nice pieces on the offense, but I think the defense is more important for the Vikings at this moment.
Yeah, I like that pick. I'm surprised we let him fall too. He kind of reminds me of, at the beginning, he reminded me of Leonard Floyd, right?
Oh boy.
Athletic,
Oh no.
skinny.
Oh,
But I think Clevion Chasen's definitely more refined as a pass rusher, and I think he's going to do a lot better than Leonard Floyd.
What's the record, by the way, for a college team first-round picks? Anyone know?
No
I feel like
clue.
LSU could break that this year.
I feel like Ohio State probably has it. If I'm
I
guessing.
wouldn't be shocked either. But LSU has at least 6 or 7, maybe 9 first-round picks this year.
I mean, that was a stacked team that got to the national championship and won it. So no shockers there. All right, next up we got the Miami Dolphins. That's 3
Their
picks.
third first-rounder.
Yes, I do see them trading at least one of those, but
Yeah,
if they
at least one is going to get traded.
Yeah, because the Dolphins, I think they are going to be a solid team next year. I could definitely see them taking the AFC East now that Tom Brady has left New England. I'm not
I don't
sure.
know about that. I think the Bills are.
They're at least in
Prime
contention.
position right there.
I think they're at
Maybe.
least in contention, and I think they're going to bulk
You
up.
got to remember, this is Miami. We're talking. This is Miami. Got to remember that.
Brian Flores is a good coach.
I think that they've got some good front office people now, and I think that they're going to take. I hope I don't butcher this name. I probably will. Penn State edge rusher Yatir Gross Matos. This is a guy that I think, to be honest, I'm a little surprised he slipped. I'm not sure if you guys know what I'm talking about right now.
Yeah, he was actually going next for me in my mock draft.
Yeah, I think this is for
I
the
had him
Dolphins.
going to the Seahawks as well.
Yeah, I think he goes to the Dolphins. I know their defense at the end of last year started to pick things up a little bit, but I think they're still going to add some bulk on the defensive line.
Yeah, now the Seahawks are up, and Seattle has traded every single one of their first-round picks since, I believe, at least 2016, maybe 2012.
Not surprised at that, actually. I'm not.
So I wouldn't be surprised to see them trade down here. They're limited in draft capital as well, but something that, you've always got to learn from Seattle is whoever is projected in the first round is not going to be their pick.
That is true.
So I'm going with the first guard off the board. He was a tackle, or right tackle, I believe, in college. That's Robert Hunt out of Louisiana State. A lot of people haven't heard of him, which is understandable. That's how all Seahawks picks are. But I actually like him. I like him a lot more than the last unnamed guy they took, L.J. Collier.
That's a questionable one. I've never heard about this guy, though.
Yeah, to be honest, I'm scratching my head at this one. I don't know.
Listen, it's Seattle.
So with 28th, we got the Ravens with the MVP, Lamar Jackson. I'm going to go with outside linebacker Patrick Queen, LSU.
I had him going to the Titans next.
Great
I
pick,
think
yeah.
I think the offense is complete. Like, what else do they need? They got Lamar Jackson, Mark Ingram, Mark Andrews. I don't even know half of their receivers, if I'm being honest. They're not a receiver team, if I'm being. I think it's just build the defense a little bit. They've got some good secondaries. I think that is what they need. I think they need to put more pressure at the line and at the quarterback. I mean, we saw what happened in that Titans game. They had no pressure at all, and Derrick Henry just ran right through them. So I think they just need to put more front seven out there than they have right now.
That's a solid pick right there. All right, so
Yeah, I like that.
number 29, the Tennessee Titans, another division rival. I think they're going to go offensive line here. They lost offensive lineman Jack Conklin in free agency to the Browns, so I think they're going to look to go offensive line here.
Hang on, boys.
What?
Just quick thing. I got a notification here from Ian Rappaport, the official one, not Barry McCockiner.
Oh, no.
Sources.
Whoa.
Retired Patriots tight end Rob Gronkowski has
No.
told England that he's interested in playing football again.
No way.
With the Bucks and Tom Brady, a trade would have to be worked out for this to happen.
Didn't he just get signed by like the WWE?
Didn't he? I'm pretty sure he's the champion in WWE right now.
I mean, that'd be a
What the
first.
heck? Oh no. This has no draft impact on this draft, at least.
All right.
Well,
Titans are up.
Yeah. All right. Again, they're gonna go. I think they're gonna go offensive line here, and I think they'll go with Cesar Ruiz out of Michigan. Not the flashiest pick. Again, not someone who's gonna make it on highlight reels, but I think it's a good pick for the Titans. And getting a need pick more than someone who's flashy.
Yeah, now the Packers are up. As much as I hate the Packers, they need a wide receiver. And, I mean, I don't know who really sticks out here. They've got a lot of those tall guys like.
Don't forget about Denzel Mims. Come on.
St. Brown.
Den Mims, can't forget about him.
I'm not as high on Denzel Mims as a lot of other people. I think they might want to go with a, change of pace guy, not really the tall, lanky guy. And, T. Higgins is my best wide receiver on the board. But Brandon Ayuk, he's got more speed to him. Aaron Rodgers could have a lot of fun with that, not just having to throw up jump balls. So I'm going to go with Brandon Ayuk to the Packers out of Arizona State.
All right, so we got the 31st pick, and it's the Chiefs who made the Super Bowl. This might be a little biased right here, but the Chiefs, I mean, they've already got their receiver in our draft, so they don't need another one. They need some defense. They just lost to Forrest Buckner, so why not go for someone around his size position? Julian from Notre Dame, the defensive end. I'm a huge Notre Dame fan, and this guy is definitely a first-round talent. I'm not just trying to hype him up. He really is. He's a great player. I hope he would go to the 49ers. The 49ers have actually showed Notre Dame players a love these past few. Definitely could see Julian Okwara going there. Great defensive end, would help this team a lot. And I just think the 49ers could add him. DeForest, he's not going to be the next DeForest Buckner. Don't get me wrong. He might be, actually. That's a big loss for them. But, they need to add the replacement, though. So I think Julian Okwara might be a good selection for them. He was a great player at Notre Dame, and I just think he could fit Niners.
Yeah, he played a lot of edge at Notre Dame, so not sure how he would fit onto the inside there, but
very versatile guy.
Yeah, he's a very versatile guy. He's a big guy. 49ers seem to have ways to do whatever they want with their pass rushers, so
they also have success with Notre Dame players.
And last but not least, Jovanni is up with the Chiefs.
The Chiefs. All right, the Chiefs. I don't think this is a team that has a lot of real flaws that you could actually point out. So I don't think they go based on need here. I think they go bit of a flashy pick here. DeAndre Swift out of Georgia. I think that they could also go target the offensive line here, since it is once again a pretty good offensive line draft. But I think they go with a running back, maybe even Jonathan Taylor here, who I think is a big home run pick for any team who selects him. I know in this we have him falling out of the first round, so that won't be happening for any team in our first round mock draft, but I think that's who the Chiefs go for here, or anything big to get Patrick Mahomes yet another weapon.
Yeah, I like DeAndre Swift a lot. He's my number one running back. Number two is Clyde Edwards-Helaire, who, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised to see a team like the Bucs, maybe the Browns or something, try to trade up here. We've heard the Browns like Ezra Cleveland a lot. Chiefs or Bucs would be perfect for Clyde Edwards-Helaire. But that's the end of our first round, and you guys want to run through who we picked for our teams?
Who do we pick?
So if Jovanni wants to make a pick for the Colts at their selection.
Ooh. Colts do have 2 second-round picks. Chris Ballard does like to trade out. So I think biggest need for the Colts, if you're going to get Phillip Rivers, obviously Chris Ballard thinks he can win now with Phillip Rivers. I think he's going to be the starter. I don't think there's going to be much competition. I do like Jacoby Brissett. I think if you do look at his numbers before the injury that he had, you got to keep in mind the Colts beat the Chiefs. And I know that Patrick Mahomes had an injury in that game, but Brissett really...
And no Tyreek Hill.
Yes, I know, but they still beat the Chiefs at Arrowhead, so you got to give them credit where it's due now. Do I think you base your decision off that? No. But I think to blow the whole thing up just because the Colts had not the best second half of the year is a little crazy. So I think if you're going to get Phillip Rivers, clearly Chris Ballard thinks that this roster can win now. So I think they go with a receiver here in the second round. They have the second pick, or crazy in our board, Jonathan Taylor is still on the board. So I think
he did have 18 fumbles in college.
This is true. The Colts have running backs who fumble a lot. Trent Richardson, i.e. Yeah, it seems like the Colts always have that problem. I could go all day with that. Even Frank Gore, who I
One
know
second here. Back to the Rob Gronkowski thing. Patriots and Buccaneers are discussing a trade for Rob Gronkowski.
he does have 1 year and $10 million left on his contract. Anyways, I have the Colts picking Michael Pittman here from USC. He ran a 4.5 at the combine, and
I like that pick a lot.
Yeah, and I think he's someone who can help on special teams a lot. Yeah, I think this is going to be a good weapon for Philip Rivers. And really, outside of T.Y. Hilton, the Colts have not had a lot of good wide receivers. I know over the past few years they've had a fluctuating carousel of tight ends. Eric Ebron left to the Steelers now. I thought he was a good red zone target, but just too much inconsistency and injury. So I think I like the Colts picking a receiver here, but I could also see them trading back here. Because, a high second-round pick, that's still very valuable.
Yeah, and the Bears also have 2 second-round picks. I would definitely like to see them trade down one of those picks, move into the 3rd and 4th round, gather some more picks. But if we're, saying no trades, I got to say, if Isaiah Wilson's on the board at pick 43, you got to take him. He is... If you could kick him into guard, his pro comp for me is Kyle Long. So, and I know us Bears fans, Jack, we miss Kyle Long a lot.
You could say that. I mean, he had problems, injury problems, but I mean, it is what it is. I mean, he wasn't healthy at all. Sometimes there were games where he did hurt us, but there were games where he helped us. Great player, great person, but it was time to move on.
Yep. And Jack, who would you like to see the Bears taking?
I'm sold on the Bears trading first round pick. I'm trading on one of their second rounders and a later pick for a first round pick. They're gonna get a secondary. I feel like AJ Terrell is a great fit. The Bears have Prince and Mark Amara. He is gone. Then their secondary, Buster Screen. I mean, he's good, but he's not worthy of a secondary. And AJ Terrell has that potential to be a number 1 secondary. And I just think the Bears need another second. I mean, I just feel like that's their biggest issue right now is the secondary. They have one of the best front sevens in the NFL. That's already good. But Kyle Fuller and Buster Screen, you need to add another piece to that. I mean, Eddie Jackson, they lost HaHa Clinton Dix as well. So people could be using the ball as a weakness for the Bears. And I feel like you got to build off that a little bit. So the Bears still have one more second round pick. And like Michael Pittman Jr., I think he is one great receiver. I am not fond of USC players. I'm not really at all.
I wonder why.
But I think a sleeper second-round pick the Bears could get is Chase Claypool out of Notre Dame. Chase Claypool put up Calvin Johnson combine numbers. And I mean, yes, it's but if you can put it in the spot for him and be able to, because right now the Bears are looking at a Allen Robinson, Anthony Miller, Cordell Patterson trio right now. And I feel like, yes, that's not bad, but you need another receiver. You still got Javon Wims and the back still. So I feel like another receiver is needed for the Bears. And other than that, I think the Bears are set. They've got a tight end. They've got a running back. They've got 2 running backs, I should say. Obviously, we got the quarterback battle coming up this spring training camp. So I think secondary is really it for the Bears. I mean, like we said, their front 7 might be the best front 7 the Bears have had in 20 years or more. I mean, this front 7 is going to be loaded, and it's going to. So I just think the secondary and the receiver positions are much needed. I also can see them going for Thaddeus Moss out of LSU.
Yeah, I like both those picks. And here's a look at our draft. We've got Joe Burrow, Chase Young, Jeff Okudah going top 3. Runs on offensive tackles, big runs on wide receivers, and a couple guys fallen who we aren't as high on that I'm sure NFL GMs will be.
I definitely think our 19th and the Dolphins late pick and the Raiders late pick might be a little wrong with Tua and Herbert going that late. I can't see
that. I don't know. Anything else you guys want to say before?
I just can't see the Dolphins passing up at 6 with Tua sitting right there. I just can't. I really can't see it passing up.
One of you guys brought this up. The quarterback battle coming up for the Bears in training camp. I want to hear your guys' thoughts on that and who you think is going to be the starter and whose job it is to lose at this point.
Nick Foles is going to be the starter.
Theo?
I think it's going to be Trubisky. I think when Trubisky has a fire under his eye, he plays good. You can hate Trubisky all you want. You can say, yeah, he's inconsistent.
That's why
But
he's going to beat out
Marquise
Williams at UNC.
But the thing about Trubisky is he has come clutch for the Bears. He has. He is inconsistent. I'm not saying he's not, but he has come clutch for the Bears. And many times this year, you can go back to the Denver game. That was one of the best drives he's had. You can go to the playoff game against the Eagles. He literally put the Bears to win under a minute to go. You can go to Thanksgiving Day against the Lions. Him and Anthony Miller had the drive of the season. That was one of the best drives I've seen Mitchell Trubisky have in a while.
Had the game-winning interception.
That as well, yeah. But I'm saying he has come clutch as well, though. I do think it's more. I do feel like obviously
the one where Chase Daniels was the starter.
And then we lost that game because Chase Daniels is not a good. He's a good backup. He can't start games, but he's good at backing up. That's why we won the Vikings game.
Lions on Thanksgiving when Eddie Jackson had that pick six to win the game. Chase Daniels.
Now was our defense that game. I don't think we won. I don't think you can say we won because I don't think you can say we won that game because of Chase Daniels.
Hey, one at a time, please.
I don't think you can say that. But obviously, it's Trubisky's position to lose. I think he will win it. But obviously, I'm going to give it 8 games. And if they're 4-4 or less, it's time to pull the plug. I give them 4-4 or less. They're 5-3. I think there's still room for him to play. But if you're 4-4 or less after 8 games, I do not know when their bye is. I haven't really looked at the schedule really, if they even come out with it yet.
They haven't even released it.
Yeah, I'm about to say that. So I feel like Foles could. I mean, obviously, this is the coaches the Bears have at quarterback positioning is the best they've had probably ever. They have John, I can't say his last name, from the Jaguars. These quarterbacks work well with Foles. That's why Foles could win this. But there's also good coaches for Trubisky as well. It's going to be interesting. I hope Trubisky does. I've rid with him. I'm still going with him. This is my last year. If he doesn't play well, it's time to pull the plug. But this is it.
You're on the record saying that, please.
If you cannot go 4-4 in 8 games with this type of team, it's going to be it. I think that's it. Bearing any major injuries, obviously. But I mean, I think this is it. He's got great targets. Jimmy Graham, Allen Robinson. Cordell Patterson's going to play receiver now. I've been wanting that to happen since they signed him. Cordell Patterson's a great receiver. I don't know why they don't use him more. I think Anthony Miller might get an ego check. He had a big ego last season. That really kind of hurt him because he thought he was, the best receiver, and he wasn't. So I just think Trubisky's going to win it. I think he wins it in training camp, but I think Foles, obviously, if things aren't going, good, it's obviously going to be Foles. I do think the Bears win a division. I think the division's weak this year. Lions and Vikings are not going to compete, and you never know with the Packers. You never know. No one would have thought they would have won 13-3 this past year.
Yeah, I think it's Nick Foles' job to lose. Trubisky doesn't do well to competition.
It'll be interesting. I think Trubisky's going to be fine.
He's sat behind Marquise Williams, who is not playing football anymore for 3 years, I believe.
That's also North Carolina college. It'll be interesting, though. I mean, we'll see. Like we said, we'll see what happens. You got to remember Nick Foles is coming off surgery. Don't forget about that. So you got to see if he's going to be okay. He did play a couple of games, but he obviously got benched for Gardner Minshew. So we'll see.
Yeah, it should be an interesting draft, especially with everything going on in the world. It's going to be all virtual. I'm sure we've all heard the reports that it's been, I'll just say it, a disaster.
Obviously, well, it's a success, I heard, because the WNBA did their draft last week and it was virtual. I heard it went pretty good. So obviously, it's unfortunate we won't get to see these players riding on the Bellagio fountains on boat, going to the stage. I would love to see that. But I'm excited for this draft. This is one of my favorite draft classes probably in a long time. I'm a fan of all the players in the first round, especially. So I'm excited. I actually did forget the draft was this week until last week. I'm not going to lie. I forgot. I did not realize that April 23rd was coming up this close. Time flies, I guess. But yeah, I just hope this is a great draft. Hopefully we see some nice moves. Hopefully not dumb moves by our teams, but we'll see. Long season ahead of us. Hopefully we can get this season started on
Can you at
time.
least tell me what day of the week it is today?
It is Tuesday. It is
Okay.
Tuesday today.
Okay.
I almost said Wednesday.
And I almost did say Wednesday. I have lost track of time and days during this quarantine. Just being honest. When you have due dates for school all due Sunday, you kind of just lose track of time and when things are.
All right. Well, that's all the time we have today, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for tuning in. I'm Josh Brunette. Alongside me has been Jovanni Alcantar and Jack Theil making his return to high school.
Been a while.
I'm sure we'll see you guys again soon.
Yeah, I'm sure. We got Zoom.
Alrighty. Thank you for joining us, ladies and gentlemen.